In the previous 7 episodes of this season of El Flow, we've discussed how reggaeton has become a global revolution. Its powerful rhythms have infected the dance floors of practically the entire world. The rhythm, the beats, the lyrics, the perreo. Everybody loves it. And reggaeton delivers. However, the genre always stays true to its roots. Everything returns to where it all started. Puerto Rico, my homeland, is the cradle of this genre. Although it's been exporting artists of the urban genre for more than 25 years, the small island archipelago in the Caribbean continues to produce headliners, and it seems like more and more every day. This episode is so special, we decided to split it in 2, because there's simply way too much to talk about on this topic. What is it about? Let me give you some clues. With a career spanning only 6 years, he's already broken all the records. He was the first Spanish-language artist to reach #1 on Spotify. His 2022 tour was the fastest-selling in history, only singing in Spanish. That same tour broke the record for most earnings in a single tour by a Latin artist, surpassing Luis Miguel. He was the first Latino to be nominated for the Grammy's Album of the Year award. And not only does he set dance floors on fire, he has also appeared in movies with Brad Pitt. No? You still don't know? I don't believe ya.
Con ustedes, Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny has made many uncomfortable. But more importantly, he has captivated millions more. And that has led him to where he is today, right on top of the world. The phrase may sound cliche. Bad Bunny has conquered the world. But let's reflect for a moment. Why and how, before turning 30, this Puerto Rican rapper conquered the world? In this episode, we review the life and career of Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio. We delve into his origins in Puerto Rico to understand how he became both a chart topper and critically acclaimed, and what we can expect from him in the future. I am Lilia Luciano, and this is El Flow, 2nd season. Episode 8, Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny is on top of the world. This, not according to me, but to Rolling Stone magazine on its July 2023 cover, dedicated to the Puerto Rican singer. The article opens with an interesting anecdote. On the grounds of a polo field in Southern California, one of the most anticipated shows of the year is set against the backdrop of barren mountains and towering palm trees. It's April 2023. San Benito is about to take the stage at Coachella. The audience is roaring. Between screams, his voice is heard on screen, in Spanish, saying how for all the enormous artists who had graced the main stage, there was also a first. He said, "The first time singing and performing Magic on Coachella stage. It blows my mind. It seems incredible to me."
Bad Bunny is now the most streaming artist on the planet for 3 years in a row.
This is Julissa Lopez, a reporter and senior editor at Rolling Stone. She wrote the article that we mentioned a moment ago.
He was going to be the first Latino solo act headlining at Coachella, and he had just broken Ed Sheeran's record for the highest grossing tour in a calendar year. So there were all these things that I think really proved the global scale. It made such an impact on me to be there at Coachella, one of the most visible festivals in the United States.
She's not alone backstage on Coachella's main stage. Along with Julissa are artists of all kinds. Justin Bieber, Featherweight, Blackpink, the Kardashian sisters. Everyone is excited to see the Puerto Rican break it again.
And to see all of these other artists there, You had Peso Pluma, you had Blackpink, you had Haley and Justin Bieber. And I think seeing that those artists was reflective of what the rest of the crowd looked like, because the crowd, I think, was also just this incredible mix of people. It was an Anglo audience, it was a Latino audience, it was so many people that had come from different corners of the world to see him.
In the 24-year history of the world's most important music festival, Coachella, held each year in Indio, California, there have been dozens of Latinos. The first ones to arrive on the poster in its first edition in 1999 were Venezuelan band Los Amigos Invisibles. But historically, it's been Anglo artists who've been seen in the large letters. Caifanes were among the main acts in 2011, then Los Angeles Azules in 2018, J Balvin in 2019, Grupo Firme in 2022. But Bad Bunny was the first Latino to be the main act in the history of Coachella in 2023, closing the first night of the 3-day festival. In the speech he gave before opening his set, he said, "Out of so many, there has never been one like me." Bad Bunny's headliner show at Coachella, however, was not without problems. About halfway through the show, he brought out one of his special guests. It was Post Malone, the hip-hopper who combines rapped rhymes with some country pop. They were both fans of each other, but had never met in person. According to Julissa Lopez in Rolling Stone, Bad Bunny invited him to his show just a couple of weeks before. That day, the New York native sat with an acoustic guitar face-to-face with Bad Bunny on stage. He sang the first notes, but nothing could be heard. The microphone had failed. The two artists, visibly nervous, turned to look at their teams, trying to find a solution or an answer. The audience shouted in encouragement. Martinez Ocasio invited the audience to finish the song Yonaguni a cappella. Obviously, everybody knew the lyrics. Una noche más, una copa de más, tú no me dejas en paz, de mi mente no te vas. An all too familiar sentiment about lost love. Another night, too many drinks, you don't leave my mind, you don't give me peace. The two musicians gave each other a loving hug, and the show continued as if nothing had happened. Bad Bunny, as the article claims, is on top of the world. But what happened for Bad Bunny to get that far up? Where did he even come from? We'll explain that and more after a short pause. As we explained in the previous segment, San Benito has come further than any other. But it wasn't always like this. He's had to work hard and consistently, but above all, from below. Here again, Julissa Lopez.
Benito was just kind of a normal kid from Vega Baja. His mom was a school teacher. His dad was a truck driver. I think it really makes a big impact on people to know that not that long ago, he was just like a college kid bagging groceries on the side.
He worked at the Econo supermarket, something like a Puerto Rican Publix or Albertsons. But this pretty normal boy hid a unique talent. He was born on March 10, 1994, and he's always said that he wanted to dedicate himself to music. He was crazy about all kinds of genres, from trap to opera. Benito was part of the choir at his community church and once sang Mala Gente by Juanes at a talent show at his school. In his free time, he wrote verses and rapped. He hung out with up-and-coming producers like him and, like thousands of others in his generation, uploaded everything to the internet.
He grew up, I think, with a really big interest in music from a really young age. And I think around that time when he was in college, there was a scene that had, been growing where so many artists had been uploading things on SoundCloud and sort of making their own tracks. So Bad Bunny kind of starts playing around with different, sounds and uploading tracks on SoundCloud. And that's really where he takes off. And I think what was great about him, too, was he was so versatile. He could on a trap track and be on like a massive collaboration with a bunch of other artists. But then you also saw him kind of experimenting with different sounds that showed that he was sort of interested in a few other lanes.
However, little is known about his personal life prior to stardom. Bad Bunny is an artist who speaks through his art, while keeping his personal life private. One can see it on his social media. On his Instagram account, @BadBunnyPR, Benito usually deletes his old posts. Most of them are selfies, very close up, showing him seemingly having a good time, rather than posing as the sex symbol that for many he has become. He seems to prioritize what brought him there: music. The music that has made him a global superstar comes from everywhere. His versatility comes from the infatuation with the music that he's heard since he was a little boy, because Bad Bunny is a man who listens to everything.
He has so many different influences that he's talked about. He's talked about Tego Calderón, he's talked about Héctor Lavoe. I think there's like a lot of different things mixed. Even I was surprised to learn how eclectic his tastes are. He's listening to Radiohead and Phoebe Bridgers at the same time that he's listening to Luis Miguel and Peso Pluma and Grupo Frontera. And I think that's something really that stands out about Bad Bunny.
El Conejo Malo listens to all of the musical genres without ever neglecting what brought him to the top. Reggaeton, of course. In the photo for the article that Julissa wrote, he appears shirtless, with several heavy gold chains hanging from his neck, each with the name, initials, or symbols of his own reggaeton idols, legends of the genre including Daddy Yankee and Don Omar.
He's kind of capturing the energy of the different evolutions that reggaeton has had throughout its history and helped make it more globally recognized, where it's a much bigger part of the conversation now.
It was a tribute to the reggaeton heroes who came before him. Symbolically, he tips his hat to those who paved the way that he leads today. This is evident in the eclectic nature of his songs. His first hit was Soy Peor, released in 2017 after DJ Luyan invited him to be part of his Hear This Music label. In it, he redefined trap for an entire generation, making it a sound for the heartbroken. Like when the lyrics say, "Sigue tu camino que sin ti me va mejor. Ahora tengo a otras que me lo hacen mejor. Si antes era un hijo de puta, ahora soy peor." A bitter rebuke of a failed love. Follow your path, I'm better off with you. I have women that do it better than you. If I was an asshole before, you should see me now. After a few singles, Bad Bunny surprised the world on Christmas Eve 2018 with the release of his first debut album, Por Siempre. Throughout the 18 tracks that make up this installment, Benito is the primary lyricist. For the beats and rhythms, he teamed up with the legendary producer Tiny, who we talked about in our 5th episode, as well as other veteran producers like Diplo. In Por Siempre, there's pop, there's ballad, bachata, and obviously a lot of reggaeton. And it contains some of his biggest hits to this day, including Otra Noche en Miami, Caro, Ni Bien Ni Mal, and Mia, the song in which he convinced Drake to sing in Spanish. He followed up his fresh album with 6 additional studio albums. Oasis, which he made entirely with his friend and colleague J Balvin, Yo Hago Lo Que Me Da La Gana, Las Que No Iban a Salir, and El Último Tour del Mundo. Un Verano Sin Ti, published in 2022, was beyond a commercial success, reaching #1 on the Billboard 200, and also among critics by reaching the best places for albums of the year in international publications like Pitchfork and Rolling Stone. The musical versatility of this release functions as an introduction to the diverse and complex Puerto Rican cultural tradition. In a surprising announcement, El Conejo Malo released his new album, Nadie Sabe Lo Que Va a Pasar Mañana, to the public in October 2023. The album features 22 tracks that predominantly have the trap style with which he began his career. The album includes collaborations with Ñejo Flow, Arcángel, Young Miko, and others. Shortly after publishing Un Verano Sin Ti, the Grammys landed. At the 2023 Grammy Awards, Bad Bunny was chosen as the opening act of the ceremony. Wearing a simple white tucked-in t-shirt and light blue jeans, he sang two of his greatest hits, Titi Me Preguntó and El Apagón. If you haven't seen the videos of that night, I highly urge you to do so right now. You can come right back to us. In those videos, you can see celebrities dancing to music they clearly aren't very used to, with very little rhythm, but a whole lot of excitement. Celebrities that include Harry Styles and Taylor Swift. The Puerto Rican artist later admitted on a television show that he almost didn't make it to the appointment that night because of traffic. He arrived just a few minutes early. Memes of Taylor Swift dancing, which a little bit of grace, filled the internet. But the two artists were seen posing for photographs at the event almost as if they were old friends. All eyes were on Bad Bunny, not only with his incendiary entrance as the first artist to open the Grammys entirely in Spanish, but he was also nominated for Album of the Year. It was the first time that an album entirely in Spanish was nominated for that award, the most important of the night. On October 2023, with the release of Nobody Knows What's Gonna Happen Tomorrow, or Nadie Sabe Lo Que Va a Pasar Mañana, Bad Bunny was invited as not just the musical guest, but also to host Saturday Night Live for the first time. Continuing with his style, the Puerto Rican artist didn't make any exception, and the majority of his monologue was in Spanish, with actor Pedro Pascal providing partial translations of what he was saying. I know y'all are curious about the Kardashian, and yes, they were very cute and cuddly during the after party. I was there that night, witnessing the rehearsal for the main show, and I'll tell you this, there were sketches that I would say for maybe political, creative, or humor reasons never saw the day of light, and I think Bad Bunny prefers it that way. An artist achieving global prominence while exclusively singing in Spanish may appear effortless, but it's unprecedented. It's as if he's taken the mantle from legendary pop stars like Ricky Martin and Shakira. Today, Bad Bunny is not only renowned for his music, but also as a style icon, even as a sex symbol, highlighting his keen sense of fashion and self-presentation. For example, in an issue of Harper's Bazaar, he was featured wearing a Louis Vuitton skirt complemented by Tiffany jewelry. Additionally, Bad Bunny graced the cover of Playboy magazine, showcasing a close-up of his face, baring his teeth, and flaunting painted nails. Notably, he is the only man to have ever been on that cover, aside from the magazine's founder, Hugh Hefner. Something that may be superficial reveals a lot. For example, his hair. At first, he wore it like many in his generation, shaved. As Benito said in an interview for Allure, the way you start on Grand Theft Auto. Thus, at the beginning of his career, Bad Bunny had his hair shaved, like he had it in high school, and without a beard. Later, his signature cut was to have it shaved, but with complicated and striking circular designs with slightly longer hair. Because although it sounds basic, it does represent a lot of what he saw growing up in Puerto Rico. The kids would meet in barbershops to discuss current events and create community. They met to share neighborhood gossip, talk politics, and obviously to come out looking better than they went in. Barbershops are such an important staple of reggaeton that many don't know this, but Yandel, from the massively famous duo Wisin y Yandel, started out as a barber. With his sometimes risky looks, Bad Bunny has also managed to venture into another area of entertainment, cinema. His debut as an actor was a minor role in the Netflix series Narcos Mexico. In the series, he appears alongside Mexican actor Diego Luna as a wealthy young criminal from Tijuana. Name: Kitty Paez. He also appeared in the action film Bullet Train, going head-to-head in an epic fight with none other than Brad Pitt. Just like in the Netflix series, it's a minor role, but the Ojitos Lindos performer was nominated for Best Fight at the 2023 MTV Video Music Awards. Benito Martinez also plays Felipe in the Prime feature film Casandro, a film about a queer lucha libre wrestler alongside Gael Garcia Bernal. And it's possible that he will appear as El Muerto, a Latin Marvel superhero.
I think he wants to feel like he's like enjoying his life and like doing the things that he likes. The thing that I go back to a lot is that Bad Bunny's 29. When you see a celebrity figure like that, you kind of like invent a narrative in your head that they're like much older, much wiser than they are. But he's 29 and deferred a lot of his 20s because he was touring all the time and he was making music.
Despite all of these achievements and accolades, it's important to remember the relatively short span of his music career. Benito Martinez Ocasio is barely 30 years old. It's only been 6 years since he debuted with the hit Soy Peor. But what's next in Bad Bunny's artistic career? Stay with us after the break to find out. As we heard in the previous segment, Bad Bunny has ventured into cinema, one of his passions in life. But it certainly isn't the only one. There are times when El Conejo Malo surprises his audience in unexpected and somewhat strange ways. Benito, in addition to growing up obsessed with music, had another great passion: wrestling. Just as he reached the most important stages in the world, Bad Bunny fulfilled his dream and faced Damian Priest in a WWE ring in May 2023. The singer won the fight, but it wasn't easy. At the end of the match, he showed the visible wounds and injuries he had on his back. But Puerto Ricans are strong, and as he said in his hit El Apagón, Puerto Rico está bien cabrón. And for Bad Bunny, things continue to go up. Here again is Julissa Lopez.
Now he's in a place where he's been the most arguably global artist for several years in a row now, so why not just sit back and kind of enjoy it and see what happens? I think he's always going to want to make music, and he's someone that is really prolific. He told me there's like albums that I have put away for like 5 years down the line. I think he's going to be more along the lines of somebody who's always turning out.
Bad Bunny's level of celebrity is only on the rise. And although he has stated that he prefers life away from scandal, he can only expect more tabloid news, especially if we add the fact that he's currently dating Kendall Jenner.
He was kind of a shyer kid, and he had sort of like a small, tight-knit group of friends. He wasn't the class clown who was like standing up on the chair and performing all the time. Him appearing on the cover of Time magazine, talking about El Apagón and talking about his view of colorism and racial issues in a way that really upset people. And that all kind of coincides with him dating a member of the Kardashian family. So I think that that's something that he's been trying to navigate.
In his song Fina with Young Miko, Bad Bunny says, "Se preguntan cómo nos comunicamos. Ey, mejor ni les contamos." They wonder how we communicate. Hey, it's better we don't tell them.
I think that I think if you're dating somebody from that family, their ties to tabloid culture and pop culture is inextricable. Like, you can't really date them and not expect that paparazzi isn't going to follow you around everywhere.
He has been away from scandals. He still has an image of someone dedicated to music and also to certain political and social issues. From performing Juanes songs at high school events to becoming Spotify's most streamed artist worldwide, and from being the first Latino to headline Coachella to the only Latino nominated for a Grammy Album of the Year, it appears that for this young man, some things remain consistent.
And I think that's why even now, if you look at the team that's followed him from the time he started making music to now, a lot of his entourage and the people around him are like people that he's known since he was a teenager. I think that is sort of his way of kind of keeping like the things that he grew up with close to him. It's people that he's been leaning on for a long time. So there's something about him that, even though I think he has this huge personality that comes out when he's on stage and he seems larger than life in so many ways, at his core, he is sort of somebody who's like much more reserved and internal and reflective. I think that comes through in some ways in sort of the lyricism. And I think Bad Bunny always has that a little bit of a sad bunny side.
He may be shy or introverted in interviews. However, this superstar, after all these years,
he just wants to be somebody who makes music. I think he's going to be more along the lines of like somebody who's always going to have an album out. And I think that's kind of what he wants his legacy to be. I think the things that are important for him is for the music to be good, to feel like he's doing stuff that he likes, and to be representing Puerto Rico.
This artist doesn't seem to change on a personal level. And he's achieved this thanks to another very important facet of his career, one which we do not talk about in this episode, but which we will address in the next one, which is his enormous social and political commitment to what affects the communities that he seeks and loves within and outside of Puerto Rico.
And again, not just Bad Bunny, but everything that he represents and talks about, which he's very explicit about, is always going to center on Puerto Rican people and Puerto Rico as a place. He grew up and his artistry is actually indebted to those conditions and to those struggles. You know, he is who he is as an artist because he is Puerto Rican. And so that's why, you know, no matter what he wavers on.
We'll learn more about this in the next episode of El Flow. The second season of El Flow was written and produced by Álvaro Céspedes and Reynold Gutierrez in partnership with iHeart's My Cultura podcast network and is hosted by me, Lilia Luciano. Edited by Carmen Graterol. Fact-checking by Samedi Aguirre. Executive producers are Carmen Graterol, Rose Reed, Isaac Lee, and Lilia Luciano. Sound design by Pachi Quiñones, Hugo Mendoza, and Gonzalo Messi. Special thanks to Verónica Hernández and Pedro Aguirre. Our executive producers at iHeart are Giselle Vances and Arlene Santana. For more My Cultura podcasts, listen to the iHeart Radio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your favorite shows.